Hi, this is Vicki with Learning Home Volunteers. This learning session, we're going to focus on three very different animals: giraffes, frogs, and snakes. Mammal, giraffes, an amphibian, frogs, and a reptile, snakes. All of these animals have similarities to us and, of course, differences. Have you seen one of these in person? Well, I've gotten to see all three. And when I was little, I would catch snakes and frogs. I even raised some tadpoles, those are baby frogs, into frogs themselves. So it was super fun. I put this extra picture here so you could check out what a baby snake looks like. My neighbor found it on her walk. It's a baby, and look at how tiny it is. So small, I'm surprised she even saw it. Well, I'm excited to learn more about these animals and what kinds of things we have in common. So let's get started. This week, we're going to actually focus on snakes. We have three great books to help us explore the different animals. Our first one is by Ellen Stoll Walsh, the author of Mouse Paints. This book is about a snake who thinks the mice might be a really good snack. Our next book is a really funny book by Ken Faulkner about wide-mouthed frogs, and is a great pop-up book, which I'm looking forward to Nicole actually reading. And our last book is about the kinds of problems that giraffes have by Jory John and illustrated by Lane Smith. So let's take a look at our first activity. This is activity 1. In your box, you're going to find a bag numbered 1 that contains a felt snake, and they look like these. The felt snake is a learning tool that helps children learn how to button and unbutton clothes. The felt pieces are put over the head of the snake, the button, and represents the different scales on the snake. And we purposely made the scales different colors and different shapes to help you work with your child's recognition of different shapes and different colors. We hope they'll enjoy this till they get buttoning down. You can take them on, take them off, take them on, take them off. They're very fun to play with. This is activity number 2, snake pattern matching. Pattern matching is used to help children recognize patterns. This is really important for reading and really important for math. And in this case, we're actually showing repeating colors. The first pattern we see, the red, blue, green up at the top, is made up of 3 different colors that are repeated. The second is looking for the child to recognize the 3-color pattern and make it again with those empty spots. We've also included some patterns which involve only 2 repeating colors. The fewer items in the pattern make it easier for the child to do. I used my Unifix cubes to match the patterns or to fill in the patterns as they were listed there. You know, if your child doesn't recognize the pattern, you can simply match on the colors and that'll be fine too. This is activity number 3, mouse count puppets. You know, you and your child are going to get to make some mouse count stick puppets. And in your bag, you're going to find some cut out creatures and cardboard pieces with sticks on them. Have the child glue the cardboard paper characters onto the cardboard puppets. And then when the story is read by Nicole, the child can actually act out the story with the puppets, which will be a delight. This is activity number 4, snake matching games. Gosh, there are so many interesting things about snakes. And our matching cards have lots of different kinds of snakes, but not all of the 3,000, but many of the common. I think the most interesting difference about the snakes and ourselves is that they have no limbs at all, which is kind of cool. because they have to get around and do things without having their legs and hands and arms to be able to do that. They also can't regulate their temperature. They have to warm themselves up by laying on warm rocks or warm roads. And then they're pretty solitary. They live mostly by themselves. They smell with their tongue, which certainly isn't what I use. I use my nose. And then they move using their bones and muscles and scales to help them move along the floor. You should try moving like a snake. Put something on the floor, maybe your sweater on the ground, and then slither up to it and try to pick it up without your hands or your legs. You're going to have to pick it up with your mouth, huh? And that's what happens with snakes too. And the other things is that snakes never stop growing. At some point when you're a child, you're going to get as big as you're going to be as an adult. But snakes never stop getting longer. They have babies mostly by laying eggs, and just like chickens. And small snakes will lay maybe between 10 and 30 eggs. And the big snakes will lay up to 100 eggs. Can you imagine having 100 brothers and sisters? They aren't like chicken eggs. They feel kind of rubbery and different. Snakes don't actually eat very often either. They only eat between 6 and 30 meals a year. I eat 3 a day. Much, much less than we do. And here with our first snake is actually eating an egg and is trying to get his mouth over it because the egg is quite big. And then you can see the second snake has the egg in its stomach and is actually digesting that. Now, snakes don't actually hear with ears that we can see, but instead they hear through their skin and muscles and bones through our vibrations. Well, that's some interesting facts that you might want to share with your child on snakes. But our game itself is a set of matching cards. Matching games actually feature double sets of the same kinds of cards, and you place them face up to kind of mix them up, and then you turn them over. Our snake matching game features different kinds of snakes. Most of the snakes that you're going to see are actually harmless. They come in all different sizes, all different kinds of patterns as we can see here. And if you're going to be working with a child that's young, very young, you want to start off with probably just about 6 pairs of snakes. Shuffle them and then turn the little snakes into rows face down. The youngest child, when you play the game, will start and then turns 2 of them over to see if they match a pair. If they do, it's the next person's turn. If they don't, then they turn them face down again, and the next person gets a time to try to find 2 matching snakes. Well, this is all for this week. Don't forget to post, and I can't wait to introduce our next animal next week.